Have you seen this man before?
Everyday we eat good. Everyday we eat good.
Tismallah.
This man goes by the online alias of Tismallah, Hoodlegend, and is mainly known for his eating videos, where he devours massive family-sized meals in one sitting. And before he starts munching, he says his catchphrase, "Every day we eat good."
Everyday we eat good. Second Whopper.
He tends to upload 3 of these videos a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. He has been making this sort of content for around a year and a half, which has made many viewers concerned for his health and well-being. Despite the concern, he still makes these videos like clockwork, alongside going live on TikTok, where he begs for gifts and rambles to others.
Like so, like so, like so. Send me some money like so, like so.
I first came across this man about 6 months ago when he came up on my Explore page, eating an uncomfortable amount of food and rambling about nothing really.
What's 2 times 2?
I didn't think much of it at the time and hadn't seen much of him after that. That was until a few followers suggested that I take another look into this big man, which prompted me to think there was something deeper than the surface level of eating and seemingly doing nothing, and that is a bit of an understatement. His routine life can make for a boring watch, where the only real change is the feast that he eats. However, sometimes this man breaks his routine and starts to ramble, a lot of the time incoherently, about nothing.
I looked at him and said, "Prosper." Bro said, "Little Bill."
Get sandwiched.
I told a foreigner, he said, "Wake up, let me do you a job." You know what I'm saying?
Across these rambles, the same themes start to arise. Him being a god,
I should be treated like I seen God firsthand.
him being a slave,
I told you that I was enslaved.
and him having died.
My dad died like he killed me.
I died about 8 months ago.
These strange ramblings and monotonous lifestyle made me question as to whether there was anything darker behind this large man, and there was. I managed to find a story about delusion, trauma, lies, hatred, and pure arrogance. Tismallah has thousands of posts across his social media accounts, and I've gone through nearly all of them, and the content gets strange. Come on me down this rabbit hole as we try to find out what's wrong with him, how he can afford so much food, where it went wrong, is he savable, and many, many other questions. This is an investigation into Tismallah Hoodlegend, one of the internet's strangest characters.
Everyday we eat good.
Drinking blue cheese, the seasoned flour.
Oh, just a sandwich.
Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo.
Tismallah. The person that sent me $10 to eat Taco Bell, you should have sent me more.
The hospital gonna help me get SSI.
No.
I'm scared to death, man. And nobody would have helped me.
To best get an insight into this man, it's best to start at the beginning of his TikTok account, so we can see how he changes over time. But before that, let's take a look at his bio. We see 4 links, one to Instagram, one to his Cash App, one to his PayPal, and the final one is to a link tree. You know what a link tree means in the bio? Only mates? He wouldn't have one on there though, would he? Oh. He does. $5,000 for a personal video, Christ alive, that's insane. $50 a month too. Who would pay for that? Well, from this, we can get his name, which is Terell Earle. And at least we already have 3 sources for the money, which are PayPal, Cash App, and OnlyMates. Anyways, moving on from that and getting that picture out of our minds, we get to the bottom of his TikTok page, and we see that the first video is an eating video, uploaded on the 19th of June, 2025.
Everyday we eat good. We got us Raisin Canes. Tenders for the first time.
Try with the sauce. Okay.
But you don't show your face in none of my videos.
As we can see, he is munching in his car, eating a big meal, with a girl next to him. The girl next to him goes by Tismallah on TikTok and is seemingly Tismallah's only friend. She only posts stuff relating to Tismallah, which involves them eating together. She is not his girlfriend, but she has some important content on there which we'll come back to a bit later on down the line. From this eating video, we get a glimpse at how spherical he really is when he pushes the steering wheel forwards to eat. He also has to sit at a slight angle inside the car, as he is seemingly too wide to sit in the seat normally. As we move on, we get another eating/devouring post, but this time in his room, which from this point forwards will be the munching room for the majority of our investigation.
Everyday we eat good. Chipotle.
He looks like he's entirely naked, but he does in fact have clothes on. He's got shorts on, but they look like boxers on him. He grunts really heavily throughout too, almost to a point of moaning, Is that really necessary? One thing that is constant throughout the eating/devouring videos is a lack of water. He's either drinking a big bottle of juice, which is mostly sugar, Fanta, Pepsi or Kool-Aid, I think, seeing as there's a white substance which I assume to be undissolved sugars at the bottom of the reused juice bottle. We only see him drink water twice. Once is straight out of a filtered jug and the other time is also out of a filtered jug. For a guy that drinks that much sugar, his teeth are incredibly white. He would make for a great toothpaste advert. As I said, most of the videos from that point forwards take place in his room. A recurring character that appears throughout is Mr. Tao, who hangs out on the door for most of the videos and doesn't move. In fact, he's been there for nearly 2 years, judging by the timestamp of this old screenshot that I found. Who knows if Mr. Tao has mushrooms growing on him, or perhaps Mr. Tao gets cleaned every so often. It's just strange that Mr. Tao is in the same exact position for multiple weeks in a row. For someone who spends a lot of time in his room, you would think that it would be somewhat clean. Well, you would be wrong. His room is an absolute pigsty, empty bottles everywhere, dirty clothes, food scraps, you name it, it's probably in his room somewhere. His bed doesn't even have a cover, he's out here sleeping bareback on the bed. Also in his room, we see a small fridge, presumably for the big bottles of drink, an air fryer, and 2 wireless cooking pots.
PC, I'm saying, you gotta take these out.
There could be a few reasons for the utensils being in his room. He doesn't live in a house that has a kitchen that works, which is unlikely, he's too afraid to go down to the kitchen, or he's too lazy to leave his room. Judging by the cleanliness of his room, I think it's the latter. Without question, we can put laziness on the board, linking it to what's wrong with him. What's also wrong with him is the fact that he is weird. He records his wet farts into the camera and he loves to do a scratch and sniff when he's swampy. Just take a look.
It's soupy. And the chat was like, take a shower before it gets even more soupy. And I told him that's how I like it. Because when I put my hand down there and I swipe my butt like a Metro card, I like to smell it and it gets me drunk.
The next thing of note that we see is him notifying his followers that he's selling packs of green, which I'm sure is against terms of service, but anyhow, that gives us another source for income.
If you need some herb, let me know. I'm in New York for like the next 2 hours.
But I doubt it makes up much of his total income, as he only goes about it for a week, as I think he smokes most of his own product. Around this time, the middle of June 2025, he talks about an Uber glitch as a way of getting free food.
And I just got home from Uber. I found out an Uber glitch. Tismallah.
During this period, Terrell was working as an Uber Eats driver. It only lasted about a month until he gave up though.
Every day we eat good. We got us some I decided to start work 6 in the morning to 6 in the PM. Yesterday I made like $180 in 6 hours doing Uber, so I could average around $400 a day, you know what I'm saying?
This is key, as most people would think of an Uber Eats glitch as a false cancellation to get free food, but I think he could have cancelled a customer's order halfway through the delivery process and just taken it home and eaten it. This is just a theory though, as he doesn't explain what the glitch entails. Knowing that he works for Uber Eats also gives us another source for the income, but I doubt it makes up much of it as he doesn't really record in his car much after that point, which would suggest that he's given up Uber entirely. We now move into July, where we see a lot of rants betwixt the eating, and we see him talking a lot about kicking his own bucket and how it's mandatory.
Because in the right mindset, even in the wrong mindset, you have people around you. You know what I'm saying? I literally did this all by myself. One wrong move and you're done. You're done, gang. I'ma keep the book. Y'all could never disrespect me, but y'all chose to try to overachieve, and look where that landed you. SUICIDE is mandatory, gang.
It's just so sad, man. I was supposed to KMS, but something told me to keep going. But next time, there won't be no next time. I apologize. What Eminem said, I'm not afraid. She couldn't say word to Soufla. I'm gonna keep it up. So I'm gonna just put this potato in my mouth. I'm gonna take a shower and guarantee that I don't be here no more, man. I'm fed up. Nah, gangsta.
These clips are just a few in a very many talks about the topic. He may have some kind of depression which results in him speaking this way, but the question is it genuine or just for sympathy? Because he talks about Cash App a lot in these rants. The life that he actively leads is quite clearly very boring and depressing. Sitting in his room all day, not being clean, eating dirty food, literally rotting away by choice as it seems so far. This can quite clearly lead to some mental health issues, but is it all down to him, or are there other external factors that have made him this way? That is the question we need to answer. In this month too, we get the first rant about slavery and how Tismallah himself has been enslaved for his entire life by his parents.
Anyways, send me money to my PayPal so I could eat. The woman that supposedly birthed me is a white woman. She never loved me. So is my grandmother that enslaved me. This whole thing is weird, gang. I ain't gonna lie. I'm telling you, bro. Either you send me money or you just like them. I ain't gonna lie. Word. Because if you're not supporting me, you with them. You know what I'm saying? So basically, if you're not supporting me, you're white. Word. You're a slave owner and you can get boomed any time of the day, or even worse, you know what I'm saying? So God loves you.
I don't know what white people have to do with this, but the stuff he says clearly doesn't make much sense. The guy is free to do whatever he wants. He can clearly leave the house and is able to make friends in that Sarah girl, so I think this is a lie for attention. Or maybe he's just lost his mind. Who knows, but we'll pin this to the board and try to figure out what he means, if anything, by this. What is also similar to this is the rants about him being dead.
Let's postpartum at this point, because I died for the world and nobody did nothing for me.
This too doesn't really make much sense. Is it literal, like perhaps he had a heart attack and his heart stopped? Or is he just ranting for the sake of getting a minute-long video on TikTok so he can get paid? That again is the question that we'll try to answer. A week later, we see that Tismallah has started to hate the only friend that he had in Tismallah.
Don't involve me with Sarah. I don't want to hear anything about Sarah, with Sarah, or about her. I don't like her. She's not for me. If anything, if you continue to pursue me, case of injustice, because what you're doing is purgatory. I hope you could get over me. It's not my fault that you told. Then her excuse is going to be like, called the cops on her when I was in Boston. First of all, I didn't call the cops on you. I called the cops. I always have the last laugh.
Apparently, according to the comments, Tismallah sent unsolicited nudes to Tismallah, which were leaked over his Discord. I cannot confirm this to be true, as I couldn't get into his Discord, but many people have said it was true, so it sounds like a credible story. Sort of seems like the type, judging by some of the other interactions that he has with girls on TikTok Live.
Do you like toasted bun?
I think you should apply for Love Island.
You're useless. How about that? How about that? How about that? How about that? You're becoming increasingly vulnerable. I'm gonna put a hand heart in your butt. You have so much things in your mouth, I wonder what calls you. You may be the president because the way you wind your waist, I should shit on your face. Put me in handcuffs. People been growing in their pants.
You're weird.
Toasted bun. Toasted bun, please. No. Can you help me? I want you to eat.
Yo, you want to shake that booty? Damn!
Daniel, back at it again.
Can you stick your tongue out at least so I can nut?
Now the first girl looks quite young, perhaps below the age of 18. He has said some creepy things to her, come over to my crib, bust my biscuit, bust it open like a disco, all quite sexual in their own regard. He does state later on down the line that the first girl is 21.
That girl that I posted with me going live with, she's 21, you weirdos.
These slightly noncy phrases started giving me flashbacks to some other content creator who I couldn't quite picture in my mind. I think he also made eating/devouring posts and was a large bloke, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Eating/devouring. Eating/devouring post.
EDP.
EDP. Eagles fans. Strange. Catchphrases. Spherical.
0, 0, 1, 5.
That's it. It was EDP 445. Will Tismallah end up being stranger than that nonce EDP? Well, let's keep digging and find out. As the posts go on, we get to see more of Tismallah's bubbly personality, which is a joke by the way.
Every day we eat good. To the person that sent me $10 to eat Taco Bell. You should have sent me more. I wasn't gonna eat any nasty food, man. They had like a box, but the box was nasty, man. They had the bean burrito in it for how much? 7 something or 8 something. I didn't want it, man. You know what I'm saying?
What a prick. That's not all. He resurfaced an old clip which went pretty viral, and I'd seen it before. It's someone ordering at a drive-thru and having a strop. When I first saw this clip, when I didn't know who Tismallah was, I thought it was a big girl because of the crop top and short shorts, but it's actually Tismallah Hoodlegend. Take a look.
How can I help you today?
2 more junior bacon cheeseburger with toasted bun, please.
I'm sorry, is that Korean bacon cheeseburger? Biggie bag?
With no, just the
Alright, I just misheard you.
just the sandwich.
Okay, anything else?
Extra mayo.
On both?
Yeah, and toasted bun, please.
Anything else?
That's it.
He's like a giant toddler. He coins his 2 main catchphrases from this, which are toasted bun please, toasted bun please,
Toasted bun, please.
and just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich.
Just the sandwich.
The rudeness doesn't stop there. He calls people who don't donate to him slaves.
Y'all ain't make me no money yet. That's crazy.
He says people who don't donate to him are weirdos as he's starving whilst they're eating well.
These boys loser as hell too. They see me starving. Ain't never helped a brother yet. I'm the most talented person in the world.
And he goes as far to say he wants to take the lives of those who don't donate to him.
If I don't put a gun in your mouth, I hope somebody do, gang. I'ma keep it a buck. I hope the worst happened to you.
This is definitely going on the board. Prick in big bold letters. We get some more information about Tismallah's living situation in July, where we see that he's eating food that his mother made him, or as he says, the woman who birthed him made.
Every day we eat good. The woman that birthed me gave me this.
If he's eating his mother's food, then it's likely that he's living with his mother, and maybe even his father too, as when he talks about being enslaved by his parents, he uses the present tense, which would suggest that he's living with both parents. A different type of post we get this month are Every Day We Say Jokes and Every Day We Spit Bars posts. These videos make 0 sense and the jokes are not funny at all.
Every day we say jokes. What screams but have no potential? What stings but doesn't say hooray? What listens but doesn't sings? Tismallah.
The common theme with these videos are that they are just over 1 minute long, which shows us that he's shitting these out to get TikTok viewership money, as on TikTok you can only get paid off of videos that are longer than a minute. That means we can add TikTok creator funds to the source of income. Speaking of income, on the 28th of July he starts doing spiritual readings for money. Now this guy has lost the plot.
You guys, if you want to pay me for readings, spiritual readings, cash at me $50 every 30 minutes. Yeah, we could talk about anything. We could do what ifs. If you want to speak to anyone, cash at me 50 every 30 minutes and I'm gonna give you tarot readings. Or we could just talk in what if this was supposed to happen in my life, how would I end up? You know, stuff of that nature.
Before I moved on to August, I started to question the reasoning for the eating content. At first I didn't really think anything strange of it, just an ovoid man who eats a lot. But then he starts to mention a Discord server sending him food and others sending him money to eat. I know he says he's starving and begs a little bit for it, but do people get enjoyment out of it, if you know what I mean? Seeing him gorge himself. Do certain people's worms elongate at the sight of this man gorging himself to death? I've heard of feeding worm elongation content before, and I'm sure many of you have too, and I started to ponder as to whether he's just eating to make TikTok money, or eating for the pleasure of others, or is it a mix of both? I say worm elongation as I can't say the word that starts with F and rhymes with coquettish, otherwise YouTube will hunt me down. That'll join our pile of ever increasing questions on our board. So far, I don't think Terrell makes it with the intent of it being worm elongation content, but there is a clip of him saying some arousing stuff, and the grunts and moans that he normally does help to push it further to be that type of content.
It's good to swallow. So traumatizing.
Oh, yeah, Daddy.
I've been coming all along.
Oh.
This is one clip out of hundreds, but he does moan and grunt in every video. I do think that the grunts are not related to worm elongation content, as he grunts even when doing the smallest movements, like standing up, so he grunts due to him being big.
Oh no.
I mentioned a Discord server earlier. Tismallah states several times that he uses a Discord server to get food, as it allows him to get free food, but most of the time he gets half price food, up to the price of $26 through this server.
The Discord got me this food again. If you want to spend $13 for a maximum of $26 worth of food, put the Discord nowhere, because they made me go into distress.
So, the initial impact of ordering fast food 3 times a day might not be as hurtful to his bank as we thought at the start. How does this Discord server work? Well, I don't entirely know. They're either using fraudulent or stolen cards to work around fraud detection and get money sent to another bank account, or they're spamming promos, but I think it's most likely the former, working in a way similar to how most G2A and CD key sellers work. We now move on to the month of August, where the food videos are still running riot, but it's also where we start to see delusions of grandeur and more hatred towards his own family. The first oddity of this month is the food he's eating. Sometimes, when Terrell doesn't get income from his many sources, he makes his own food. A lot of the time it's tuna pasta, but other times it's a big block of cheese or sausages with a big old dollop of butter. When I mean a big dollop, I mean a big dollop.
Okay.
When you're skint and out of cash, you'll want to make meals that are nutritional and filling with as little cost as possible. Wouldn't you agree? Try to stretch what you've got. Apparently, that's not the case for Terell Earle, because his idea of a struggle meal is just maple syrup.
Every day we eat good. Syrup.
For me, I don't got no funds, so it's all good in the neighborhood. I gotta eat syrup. That's a high. Now the syrup is 30.
He's eating literal sugar at this point. The second oddities of this month are Terrell's rants that start to make him come across as a bit bipolar. He starts to have these delusions of grandeur where he starts comparing himself to God.
I should be treated like I seen God firsthand. If they was treating that nigga like God, nigga, me, woo! Y'all gonna act like y'all seen God himself. Word.
He talks about how other rappers are stealing his flow.
Hey yo, Central C, cut the check and stop playing with my gangster. I put GBK in one of my songs, right? Like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. To credit her, I'm checking GBK. Nobody like GBK. So y'all see what's going on. They watching me, y'all. Cut the check, gang. Why is these niggas watching me and not saying nothing, gang?
And how he has the ability to fly and leave this planet.
I was just saying that I just was in space and I could breathe there. You guys can't. There's actually 20 planets in the galaxy and space. Pretty cool, bro. I'll do some exploring later. Tismallah.
This man clearly isn't all there in the head. Delusions of grandeur can stem from many sources, some physical, some mental, some traumatic, some through substance use. Tismallah will continue to bang on about these delusions, calling himself God many times from this point forward. Yet, he's also said these sort of things previously, which we will dig up later. Because of the repetition of these delusions, it leads me to believe that these delusions stem from one of 3 sources. The first is him just being delusional. Saying a rapper copied him from one single line referencing Gourmet Burger Kitchen is nuts. This also goes in hand with him being delusional about people owing him money, being a rude prick whereby he thinks he's better than others so he doesn't have to speak to them in a polite manner, and not having to work because others owe him. Also with the possibility of him rambling to get a minute-long TikTok. The second source could be some form of bipolar, as seen by the heavy swings between being a god and being a slave, the highs of being happy with food and the lows of ranting about kicking his own bucket. We will see some heavier mood swings later on via his Facebook. The final source could be the isolation. This guy is always alone, his only social interactions are from comments, other strangers on TikTok Live, maybe his parents and delivery drivers. This isolation has probably made him lose touch with what it's like to be a normal person within society, thus becoming delusional and thinking that he's the best at whatever it is he's rambling about, or the worst at whatever it is he's rambling about. He doesn't seem to have a real person to compare himself to, apart from Tismallah. All he knows is himself, so these delusions may not be that foreign of an idea to him. Speaking of delusions, we get some backstory to the Hoodlegend persona that he reps in his username. Apparently, he used to go by the name of Big Jack and Mr. Lunchbox in the projects.
This is one of the do-bads that ain't do nothing that was supposed to. This is another do-bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not lining nobody up. Story time. I was in high school, my senior year. For me, I'm in Edenwood with the guys and stuff. I seen, 2 or 3 ops, the most 3 maximum. I'm walking across the street from the basketball court near the supermarket in Edenwood, and I'm walking across the street, and they facing me, and I'm facing them. But I turn around like this, because they don't know crazy, you know what I'm saying? I'm burnt out, but the niggas was like, oh, you Brittany's brother. Like, they don't know me, you know what I'm saying? Like, the streets don't talk, gang. Like, as if I didn't do what I did, you know what I'm saying? Niggas was like, oh, you Brittany's brother. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Alton. Niggas said some slick shit. I said, nigga, I'm the Big Jack, nigga. After that, I forgot what went on, but nothing subtle. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy happened. Niggas did not lay a finger. Like, niggas ain't touch me, gang. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't put their hands on me, bro. Don't ever run out, gang. If you're not gonna do nothing, gang, who taught you? What type of rat lessons y'all doing in real life? Like, who does that, gang? Cause niggas came up to me like they was gonna do me bad, like if they don't know who I am, type stuff. Like if I'm not McFlossie, you feel me? But hey, yo, I'ma show y'all. Word.
Hearing his accent, it's clear to hear that he's from New York, and more so the Bronx, as throughout the eating videos he mentions that he is from Allerton, which is a street in the Bronx. Having his street name be the Big Jack would suggest that he used to peddle some kind of gear on the street, as the name Big Jack would be an ode to a film called New Jack City, which covers the theme of pushing smack through the ghettos of New York City. I cannot vouch this to be true yet, as all we have is this claim from Terrell, but it's unlikely to be true as seen by the delusions so far. He also bangs that hood persona a lot, claiming to be renowned in the Bronx as a hood legend, being feared by many.
Like, they don't know me, you know what I'm saying? Like, the streets don't talk, gang. Like, as if I didn't do what I did, you know what I'm saying?
If there's anyone out there from the Bronx that can verify this man to be the Bronx Harbour Butcher, please let me know in the comments. The next thing that we see is on the 18th of August, where the police are at Tismallah's house.
So yeah, I just woke up right off the ventilator. I'm here doing the bachata in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? Then somebody knocks the door. I'm like, yo. And it's the police, you feel me? I get up. He's like, I go out to check the window, and I see the police, you feel me, in the ambulance, and he knocks again. I'm like, yeah, hold up, man, you know. So I go to the door, I open it, and then he's asking me, do I know what happened or anything? Oh, he said, yeah, something like that. And I'm like, no, I don't know what happened. I just got up. I'm off the ventilator. Yeah, and he's with a female. You feel me? I'm here happy in my sleep doing a bachata, gang. And dude wanna wake me up, like something had to happen, cause I'm married, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, something just gotta happen, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? So I tell him I'm asleep, I'm off the ventilator and stuff. He got another police next to him. I'm a female, very beautiful. I was about to, you feel me? Cause I'm telling, I just woke up, I got on Yuba. I was telling the chat, telling Yuba what happened. Then some dude, he kicked me, like he mad at me for me being married and stuff. Like, is he cool? You know what I'm saying? But I was gonna tell another party, cause what I was gonna tell them, for me, was a different story, but the same story. That police officer was scrumptious. You know what I'm saying? The dude didn't understand me, but the other police officer, the female, she somewhat understood me, you know? So she made it better for him to translate. Yeah, she looks very beautiful. Maybe if we talk longer, I could have told her words. Yeah, man.
Do you not see that your father died? He's probably dead downstairs?
Go for him, bro.
I don't know if you caught what the person at the door said, but he states that Terrell's father is dying and that he should probably go see him.
Do you not see that your father died? He's probably dead downstairs?
Terrell seems rather unbothered by this and says that they should deal with it, basically.
Go for him, bro.
This lack of empathy for his own father could suggest that there is some deeper meaning behind the slavery comments earlier. Not having empathy for a dying man, no less your own father, could mean that there is something blocking that response from coming out of Terrell, be that trauma, some event that happened, maybe Terrell himself just being unable to lack that kind of emotion, as we've seen from the comments before relating to grandiosity. This major life event seems to be more of an annoyance as opposed to a sadness, seeing that soon after he uploaded this video, he seems annoyed at the fact that his mother asked him whether he's still going to be living with them after the death of his old man.
Hold on, mother gonna ask me if I'm gonna be staying at her house or if anything, as if I'm a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like I play with anybody, like I got time. So it's those type of things you gotta look out for on how horrible. I'm not gonna call them people because they're not people. But let me just talk about how useless. I don't view females as valuable. I've not met a valuable female yet.
He then goes on to mention how his father killed him, literally,
My dad died like he killed me.
and how the rest of his family worship the devil.
So growing up, both of the sides of my family worship the devil. They used me as a pawn. But guess what? I'm so dedicated and deployed that they can't do nothing with me, you heard? So anybody that's with them, y'all already know what's up. Yo, listen, because I'm so powerful that they plans couldn't work. Nothing could break me, you heard? You know what I'm saying? They lost it all. You know what I'm saying? Betting against me. And what made you think that you could break the unbreakable? You know what I'm saying? All these negative arithmetics, I can't laugh at y'all because it's a shame. It's nothing more than a shame. So my grandmother used to tell me that I'm too free. On my unquote grandmother, she used to tell me that I'm too free. Like what I was doing was wrong. Like she wore me inside her or something. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't fail. Cause what type of stuff is that? Like she deserved me. From a fine, handsome, sexy, intelligent, dangerous person. And that goes for everybody. Cause nobody wanna be my friend. Y'all with the devil as well. That has nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? All I know is you's not a gladiator. You can be beaten, you can be stopped, you can be shaken. You know what I'm saying? Tismallah.
He mentioned his parents and his grandmother, who he clearly hates and opposes, but doesn't seem to be living with.
So is my grandmother that enslaved me.
The hatred for his grandmother in particular will be key later on as to the conclusion as to whether the stuff about slavery and trauma has any truth to it, or whether it's just incoherent ramblings to get the minute payment on TikTok. When Terrell's father died, I wanted to see if there was an obituary of a Mr. Earle in the August of 2025, and there was one. On here is some essential information about Terrell's family, more importantly, siblings. As we can see, he has 4 siblings, one in Texas, one in the Bronx, one in Florida, and one with him in Waterbury, Connecticut. Well, at least that gives us some information about where he lives. I thought he would still live in the Bronx with the way that he bangs on about his hood, but I guess not. That means at some point he would have moved to CT, to his parents' house with his brother Anthony. It's strange, he only ever mentions that he has one sibling, a younger sister called Brittany, never the others. Perhaps he was raised with his sister and he doesn't have the same mother as the other siblings. Knowing that he lives with his brother in Waterbury could mean that there might be a bit of a power play for the house now that their old man is dead. Next up, we get a really strange comment about breastfeeding and how it's apparently Nazi to breastfeed a child. Take a listen.
Let's talk about how breastfeeding means you're a PEDO. Number one, you're feeding your babies
yeast. And for you females, it's anything for NUT, you know what I'm saying? It's a shame. That's like putting a in your child's mouth and saying, I'm milking her. Or him, you know what I'm saying?
No, Terrell, we don't know what the fuck you're on about. I don't know why you would say that. I suppose it shows us that he isn't a well-educated man, and it makes him sound like a nonce for even saying it, as he's clearly pictured that in his mind. The final thing that we get in the month of August are the mentions of Cuffham, Aiden Ross and Kai Cenat. More specifically, he wants Aiden Ross to save him from poverty. Take a look.
Nah, because I'm watching an Aiden Ross stream right now, and he's with Cuffham, and all I'm thinking about is the Aiden Ross stream. He said he likes me. When I was on Discord, we're cooking with Kaya, and I'm here suffering. If I was in his place, I found a dude, and I was like, oh, I like this kid, and I didn't do nothing about his situation. What does that mean?
Throughout the eating/devouring posts, Tismallah is often watching Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross's live streams. I always wondered who would watch those. He must be the average watcher, because I don't know anyone else who watches streamers. Anyhows, the backstory to this is that Aiden Ross knows of Tismallah because of another streamer called Cuffham, who showed Aiden Ross Terrell's content, mainly the eating videos.
No, Tismalla, it's this fat on TikTok that's just like, they be like bartering food on God. I fuck with him though. Yeah.
Aiden!
What's up?
Can I get a hi, man?
What's up, bro?
Yo, what's good, my dude?
My God, bro. Keep grinding, bro.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show him your videos, bro.
Terrell then got featured on a live stream of Aiden Ross's, where he tries to rizz up cooking with Kaya to get her guy out via Discord speed dating. Fuck me, what has my life come to? That was the only stream that Terrell got featured on, but still remains in contact with Cuffham, the guy who put Terrell on the stream. Cuffham does end up giving Terrell some money, quite a bit actually, around $1,000, but it ends up with Terrell forming a parasocial relationship with Aiden Ross and a bit with Cuffham.
I decided to text Cuffham about what it is and how I felt, man, because you don't let this blessing in disguise go away.
He thinks that they're all chums, but they don't really want anything to do with him and start to ignore him, as they probably started to see some of the other stuff and the rants that we've covered so far. This quarrel with Cuffham spills into September, where he shows us a text chain with Terrell turning on Cuffham because he won't collab with him and send him money anymore. He then speaks up about it, with Terrell saying that he can make Cuffham bigger than ever.
Cuffham been following me. I'm not gonna say that he put me on, because he didn't put me on, because at the end of the day, I work for this. Cuffham was following me for months on Instagram, and I realized who he was, and I decided to take it upon myself to reach out to him, you know what I'm saying? He liked the videos that I was doing, man. He sent me money as a friend on some friend shit, you know what I'm saying? Because what our friends are for at the end of the day. He sent me the money. He was cool with that. I don't know why he's acting the way he's acting. Maybe he sees this as a joke. But the thing is, he doesn't realize that I could get him richer. And everybody around us richer. You know what I'm saying? So imagine me and Cuffham together. I'm more viral than Cuffham. What are we talking about? I'm more viral than Cuffham on Instagram. I'm more viral than Cuffham. He has 70K followers. I got 1 million people watching me on Instagram, gang. It's all about the money, gang. At the end of the day, gang, we have to do better, gang. We can't see each other, especially as black people, bring each other down like this, man. Nah, cause genuinely, shout out to Cuffham for sending me about $900 in total. I never asked him for money. I told him, I was like, yo, bro, you know, send me money or something. I never asked him for money. I told him, I was like, yo, bro, you know, send me money. Because we started speaking, you know what I'm saying? Just to help me out in the predicament that I was in. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, what our friends are for. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, y'all, he has an opportunity to get me out the hood, and also help me get an apartment. And I'm gonna get an apartment and a swimming pool so I could lose weight. Cause he talking about in this video, that's his problem, that he don't want to kill me. In that last video he posted like 2 weeks ago or a week ago about me on the internet, he was lying, but you feel me? Let's get this money, bro. Let's get the money. Let's get the HOES. Let's talk business. Let's have fun. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it, gang. You trying to be bigger? Let people look up to you. There's people that probably look up to you. But you see how we get hype for certain people? Let's make that more of a thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's make a group. You know what I'm saying? It could be us, Aiden Rose. Let's make a group, gang. Like how there's AMP. I'm a lit person, gang, at the end of the day. So, it could be me, you, Aiden Rose, Sham. We outside. You know what I'm saying? We could upgrade and help each other at the end of the day. Make each other look better. Yo, Tismallah, Cuff'em. I got nothing but love for all y'all at the end of the day. I was always genuine. I made a lot of people money. I made the day room dudes get money. I made the day room dudes prosper in life. I just gave, before I went to the hospital, I gave a female that I met on TikTok live the formula to make $1 million, a legit $1 million.
What would you do in Cuff'em's shoes? Would you give the guy that has one gimmick a chance to join your streams and hope he does something funny that can go viral? Or would you ignore a guy begging to be put on with the knowledge that the money you gave him was spunked on fast food and the fact that this man isn't all there? The quarrel ends with Terrell calling Cuff'em a rat for not helping him, as if Terrell was in his shoes, he would help everyone that was starving, just like he is.
Cuff'em don't be answering my phone calls, so I'ma just assume he's a hater.
And he's a fan, but he ain't show me no love. All y'all ops at the end of the day.
On the 3rd of September, Terrell gets banned from going live on TikTok, which means that one of the key sources of income, aka his job, has been cut. The reason for the banning isn't really known. Perhaps he flashed the camera like he's done before on a Twitch stream. Terrell used to stream on Twitch before he sold his PC, as he was skint, and I think he got banned because of said flashing. You would think that a guy who has a parasocial relationship with big streamers would follow in their footsteps and do IRL streams, GTA RP, or maybe NBA 2K, but no, he streams League of Legends, RuneScape, and World of Warcraft. Then, on the 9th, Terrell tells us that the lights are getting shut off because someone isn't paying the bills.
So the lights just came off. I won't have my phone on. Know what I'm saying? So, Tismallah.
Terrell isn't happy about this, obviously, as he can't use TikTok or watch Aiden Ross's streams. It ends up being his last post for about 2 weeks, when he then returns with a hospital wristband on and the lights being turned back on.
Every day we eat good. I just came back from the hospital because when I'm feeling uncomfortable, I gotta leave. You know what I'm saying? So I'm back in the crib. I'm about to go take me a shower in a few. Gotta wash this pot. You know what I'm saying? Get together. Make sure this room is right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all. So TikTok owe me some money. For me, I just had to leave because there was no electricity in the crib. Like, I couldn't breathe. I got my sleeping thing. No fan. Dark. I might as well go to the hospital.
Mixed with the eating and rambling posts are posts where Terrell is begging for money but with an oxygen mask on by the looks of it. A lot of people that are heavily overweight often require a continuous positive airway pressure mask, or a CPAP mask for short. Being as big as Terrell is, he will have additional tissue and fat around his throat, which can block his airway when there isn't enough airflow or pressure in his throat. It could also be the reason for the grunts during his eating videos. Without the mask, Terrell could effectively choke due to his airway being blocked by said additional tissue, and would result in Terrell essentially shocking himself awake because he won't be able to breathe. The mask makes it so there's always an airflow or positive pressure in his throat, so the tissue won't block the channel, and thus Terrell can sleep without being shocked awake. Without electricity, the mask wouldn't work and Terrell would become so fatigued that he would eventually go insane. Mix this with the isolation and we have another cause for Terrell's delusions and mood swings. Anyhow, Terrell tells us that he went to hospital, but Sarah, aka Tismallah, says otherwise. She posts a video that includes a phone call to the police with concerns for Terrell's health and how he doesn't have electricity. She states in the video that Terrell is schizophrenic and talks about how Terrell was talking about kicking his own bucket, which he normally does.
Oh, I just have an online friend, and he has been making comments for a while, and his phone has been off since Monday. I believe he's 27 years old. I've been told by him that he's diagnosed with schizophrenia.
The officers then say Terrell went to a psychiatric hospital while the power was out in his house and returned when it was back on. Psychiatric hospital. Maybe this guy is even more delusional than he lets on in his videos. With this comes the end of the content pretty much. The last thing he does is try to create catchphrases like very mental.
Very, very mental. Very mental. Very mental. Very mental. Very mental. Very mental.
And some other shit ones.
Whoop-de-doo. 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 Whoop-de-doo.
But that's all for now. Whilst editing this video, some more information has come to light, which is a power play for the house, which I mentioned earlier. Take a listen.
So the weirdo named Anthony Earle, my so-called brother, he took off the handle on the front door to exit the door. I went through the back door to get some food. What he's implying is as if he's trying to keep me in a dungeon, as if he won't get murdered in here. So it's getting all too typical. I'm gonna remove myself. When I get paid tomorrow, I'm gonna remove myself tomorrow. I mean, I'm gonna go to the hospital.
Sounds like his brother is sick of him and wants him gone out of the house. And the next post after that is Tismallah saying that he's leaving the crib, which probably means that he's going to the hospital until his brother feels sorry enough for him to let him back in the house. I don't exactly blame his brother for doing that. Having someone like that in your gaff will drive you insane. Tismallah then returns about 2 weeks later on the 4th of November in a hospital where he states his situation. He then goes on to say that he's going to a shelter as his brother won't let him back in. Well, the reason for that might be because Terrell states that he took his dad's life. Take a look.
So I just called in the cops for the Tismallah of Earle. Let them know that I did it. Tismallah, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one that. His brother definitely won't let him back in. I can say for sure that Mr. Earle's life was not taken by Terrell. He's just making that up for some strange reason. The next post after that is a bit weird, as he says his case got dismissed because obviously he didn't do it. So he called the police on himself for no reason. Yeah, it just goes to show how strange this man is.
So y'all know who I am. Clap that case. I go in the shelter tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Tismallah. I'll be there. I'll be there.
He is currently muddled between going to jail or staying in a shelter.
Tismallah, but I'm about to go to the shelter at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm about to go to the place. It's like a rehabilitation center, and then they're gonna get me in a shelter. I'm gonna call the police, and for me, jail I go. You know what I'm saying? There's one way out. I'm gonna make my way back to Waterbury. Just go to the shelter. I'm gonna go to the mental hospital again.
To add to that, it looks like he is spending most of his time in Macca's, so there's a positive at least for Terrell in his unfortunate situation. The story will continue past this point, and I'm sure it will get better and more interesting, but it's up to you to follow the trail and make your own investigation into this now homeless, strange man. We've got some decent evidence so far. We've found a lot of the sources for his income. We have a lot of evidence to suggest that he might not be savable, and some things that are wrong with him. But I want to find out more. I want to see if there's more sources for income, what he did before content creation, and where it started to go wrong. I want to see if there's stuff up there related to his Hoodlegend status. And finally, I want to figure out if this slavery and death stuff has any sustenance to it. Luckily for us, there's two main sources for more content. His Facebook, which spans over a decade, and his YouTube, which goes back 2 more years from now. Let's go back in time and see if we can get some more evidence against this strange character. Let's start off with his YouTube. At the oldest video that he's posted on this channel, which is on the 14th of July 2024, which tells us that he's been doing this for longer than we thought. The font on the video is the same as TikTok's, which means that he has had other accounts that have since been deleted. He could have had thousands of more videos on the internet, but they're now lost to the TikTok servers. Hopefully there's nothing key on those old accounts, but we'll have to make do. We also see that he's in the same room by the looks of it, so he's been living in the same place for at least a year. The next video of note is one of him in a vehicle, a truck by the looks of it, dancing, celebrating 10k followers on TikTok. We get two things from this video. The first is that this guy's been a decent following for a while, and the second is that he has a commercial truck driving license. I doubt that he's dancing in the cab of a truck just for a laugh. Truck driving has some hefty money in it if you put the time in and have nothing else to do, which, as we saw back in the future, it's quite clear that he has a lot of time to spend, so he will be able to make a lot of cash. You can make 70k a year quite easily, and if we assume that he's worked for about 3 years and earned the 70k each year, he would have a decent bank account that he could sit on and do what he does. This is a bit of an uneducated assumption, but we'll try to figure out when he first started trucking via his Facebook. However, we do know when he gave up, which initiates on the 23rd of July 2024. Have a look.
I just got pulled over. I was subject to arrest. I was driving at the speed limit while the police was on the side of the road. I was told I was supposed to go like 15-20 miles lower because they're on the side of the road. You know, they said that they could have gotten hurt, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like I didn't see them. But the law is the law. But truth is, why I'm crying right now is because so there's I got nothing to lose.
Take a deep breath, okay? Alright, take a deep breath.
Speeding, nothing to lose. Maybe he just lost his trucking license. We get some more information about the end of his trucking journey on the 26th of July, whereby he states the reason for giving up.
And yeah, this is my last week working. I can't work no more. I can't do it. Trucking is exhausting. It's just too much at this point. I can't handle it. I'm not the same man who could do anything. I died when that happened. I don't have the same stamina.
I died when that happened. So, we get some kind of meaning for his death, which I assume he means the loss of ambition. Anyways, let's carry it on.
My quote-unquote father wished me dead to happen. I'm gonna get on disability. I'm gonna continue on my TikTok. I get paid off TikTok. Continue on with my YouTube. And hopefully I make it somewhere. Because all I got. I tried my hardest, y'all. I gave it my all. Look where it led me. Nowhere but in the ditch. Niggas know what's up with me. I got my street cred by 1,000.
He states that he's going to focus on TikTok and try get on disability. I don't know what the claim would be for, perhaps the sleep apnea or some form of bipolar, but anyhow, that can give us a source for the income, as he confirms that he is eligible for it on the 11th of August. The next thing that we see is the reason for his name, Tismallah. It's pretty obvious. It's just a letter swap, T for Terrell and the B in Bismillah. He says he says Tismallah because he's been living through God his entire life, but also living on his own terms. So it's a praise for God for letting him live on his own terms, hence the letter swap. I don't think Terrell is a Muslim, seeing that he eats a lot of pork throughout his posts and drinks alcohol.
Feel me? Like, we about to be bent, we outside, like, feel me?
Got bacon and cheese.
In this post, he talks about how he died, again, saying that it was 8 months ago.
I died about 8 months ago.
On the 29th of July, Terrell gives us some backstory into his childhood, saying that he was raised by his grandmother and that his parents abandoned him.
Growing up, surely I may be adopted on some real shit, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in my grandmother's house. Growing up, me and my sister was a burden. Never disrespected her, neither my parents. But I am a very dangerous person. About 4 or 5 years ago, she lied on me, talking about I hit her. My mother left me for dead, same as my father. I'm a hood legend, by the way. I grew up on Allison Avenue in the Bronx, New York.
He states that there's more to his backstory on his SoundCloud.
All my life, you know what I'm saying? All I do is put in my music. If you go on my music on SoundCloud, you know what I'm saying?
but I listened to all 3 songs on there and they're rubbish. Don't bother listening to them. He just rhymes words for the sake of rhyming words. None of the lyrics make sense.
Please, I ain't leave you alone. If it got me, give me a dome. Every sky gon' get it, cause anything like a thing. Like every sky gon' get it, cause anything like a thing. Like.
And the sky's gonna get it, cause ain't thing like a thing. Like, what the actual fuck does that mean? Anyways, we get some information from a song called Credit Her, where he has a lyric that goes, I've been crying for reactions.
I'm crying for reactions, and I'm crying for a breeze. Actually, God, can I...
Which would suggest that he's faking something for attention, and poses to us whether his demeanour is purely for reactions, aka, is it all an act? Or is this just another rubbish lyric that he spat out for the sake of, I don't know, whatever it is he feels he needs to rap about? We get something strange that happens on the 14th of August. Something completely out of Terrell's routine. Something unthought of at the start of the video. Terrell goes to the gym.
1, 2, 3, 4. My hip. That's that hip.
This is the only time that we see Terrell at the gym. We don't see him ever go again. At his weight, going to the gym isn't that important when compared to a diet. A diet is critical for weight loss, being that big. He could reach calorie deficit pretty easily just by walking a mile or 2 a day, and he would start to see results relatively quickly. That's all for August. The eating videos carry on into September, where we see a different sort of video where Terrell recaps his streaming journey and how it's gone in the first 3 weeks.
I'm just doing a recap. My first 3 weeks of streaming has been rough, man. It was tough because I didn't have no motivation. It's pretty cool. It was going cool, man. I can't lie about it. Chilling on Saturday and Sundays. I might change Saturdays to do live reactions because I deserve to chill for 2 days.
Come on, man. This guy gave up his job to pursue content creation, yet he's already lost the motivation to stream and deserves to chill on the weekend. I mean, really? Fucking hell. The next thing we see is a few days later when he starts rambling and talks about how they keep raising his blood pressure.
You feel me? Like, you know we had to though, twin. Word. Like, twin. Yo, these niggas ain't give me my... They keep raising my blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? They keep raising my blood pressure, twin. You know what I'm saying?
I haven't stated it so far, it's pretty obvious, but this guy has a repeating pattern of not taking accountability. He always blames something else for his problems, be that his parents, his followers, God, the Bronx itself, his grandma. You get the idea.
Uber Eats thing. They playing some RAPE game. They trying to control me what I eat.
The lack of accountability makes me wonder as to whether he might have some sort of narcissistic personality disorder. Alongside the delusions of grandeur and mood swings, it would make sense. Him being a rude loser also fits the symptoms of someone with MPD, with Terrell only really thinking of himself. Moving on from that, we get into the year of 2025, where the eating videos still prevail until we get to the 20th of February 2025 to a rambling video. Let's take a look.
The hospital gonna help me get SSI. The voices in my head don't want me to truck. The voices kept bringing me down to a point where it was unsafe for me to drive. Wet and creamy. So you gotta listen to the voices or it will tear you down, man. Creamy and wet.
At first he said the trucking was too much effort, and now he's saying it was the voices in his head that told him to stop. And the SSI is yet to be approved, probably because he changed his claim to be some sort of schizophrenia. He does show signs of someone with schizophrenia, be that the disorganised speech, bearing to the fact that he does ramble on purpose to get a minute on TikTok, which can skew the actuality of the rambles, delusions, and now, for the first time, auditory hallucinations. This is the first and only time that we hear Terrell speak about said voices in his head. He doesn't mention them from that point forwards. The next thing that happens of note is on the 21st of April 2025, where Terrell tells us about his death and how he died.
So one day I was laying down. I'm sure you guys know what sleep paralysis is. Basically, that happened to me and a burning sensation within my body started happening. And that burning sensation was hotter than fire. There's nothing I couldn't handle. I seen it as like I was in the streets. So I got what I deserved, really. At the same time, God did. That's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
He basically says that he got sleep paralysis and it felt like he was burning. Therefore, God wanted to feel like he was burning in hell, and thus he claims to have died. This clearly isn't the only meaning for the death, though, as we saw earlier, with talks about dying when he lost his ambition, and there are still a few to come. The final thing of note on his YouTube channel is him talking about some sort of weight loss surgery on the 6th of June of this year. This too is the only ever mention of a surgery, just like a lot of the one-offs that we've seen so far, be that the voices in his head, going to the gym, spiritual readings, and now this.
Oh God, I'm finna get a surgery though.
That concludes this segment of our investigation, where we only really ended up with more questions than answers. We could still make a rough guess as to what's wrong with him though. Still, I wanted to find out more, and more I found on Facebook. I found an old account called Tay Banks, which is Terrell's old Facebook that he still uses sometimes to this day, where he discusses his thoughts, posts about life, and tries to tell jokes. More importantly, he's been using this Facebook for over a decade, so maybe we can find exactly where it went wrong. If he is a hood legend like he says he is, more information about this slavery idea, and maybe, just maybe, some redeeming qualities. Let's take a look at his Facebook, shall we? As I said, his page spans nearly a decade, but we don't get our first piece of useful information until 2016 on the 3rd of May, which he tells us is his birthday. He said back in the future that he's currently 27, which will make his birth year to be 1998. What he posts on Facebook around this time is rather cringe. It's these horrid quotes about women and thuggish violence, like this one here: "Would you stomp me out for 30 million? Yes, the crowd yells resoundingly. There's other ones too, talking about how he would wet up the block, send me the addy, I'm hunting them down, and my gangster really unmatched, I'm a once in a lifetime type bloke. There's also cheesy quotes with cheesy pictures like the Joker, some geezer with a load of knives in his back, and a hard as fuck Sigma Wolf picture. That's not the worst of it. The hypocrisy runs riot on this page. I don't think I've ever seen stuff this bad. Females be posting their whack ass food on their Snap. Guess who currently does this?
Every day we eat good. Eggs with Paco Leo. I ate some, I couldn't wait.
Ungrateful people. Sick emoji. Roll the clip.
Every day we eat good. To the person that sent me $10 to eat Taco Bell, you should have sent me more.
Who do y'all think y'all are? Y'all too good?
Y'all failed me again by not sending me food. Y'all say y'all love me, but y'all treat me like y'all don't.
You're really unhealthy. Need I say more? If you eat a whole 20-piece nugget meal by yourself, you are sick in the head. He's done worse.
We got 12 donuts.
I got me some extra large hot chocolate and 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers.
Every day we eat good.
Large fries. 3 sandwiches, baked potato chili. Know what I'm saying?
Females turned Cash App into Beg App. I'm good. Bum. No. Terell Earle turned Cash App into Beg App.
Somebody finna send me some money, cause I'm drunk. I got me a... Please. Be peeing, please. Send me money so I can go on the block today, cause they having a cookout. Send me money to my Cash App.
Send me some money like so.
And finally, to top it all off, hypocrites. I hate them, on God. The proof is in the pudding. I have spoken. Most of his posts on Facebook are like this up until late 2021, which is where it started to go wrong, where he starts to ramble and talk about stuff sexually in a weird way. Have a gander at this one. Amongst these thuggish posts and hypocritisms, there are pictures and videos of Terrell. As we can see, he's always been big, but nowhere near as big as he currently is. You could even say that he was at a healthy weight. He only really started to look bad in late 2021, where the muffin top really started to show itself. Also, there are some questionable posts in 2016, almost a bit noncy, asking what's the youngest he can go for, and 16, I'm catching that case. Yet, in 2024, there is still some questionable stuff, like this: 18 and up, the law is the law. I don't know, the bloke would have been 26 at that time, and would have gotten with an 18-year-old if he had the chance. Someone check this guy's hard drive. The next thing of importance doesn't happen until around 2018, where we see that Terrell is in college doing some kind of business or finance degree, as he's doing an accounting module. He studied at Broome Community College in New York, and it says that he graduated from Broome in 2020, but I couldn't see any post of his graduation or the degree itself. This was during COVID times, so maybe he didn't have a graduation ceremony. Let's take his word for it, or word is bond as they say in New York, as it doesn't really impact our investigation. All it can tell us is that he might be smarter than he puts on. The hatred towards his family starts to show itself in 2019, where he says that his parents were never really there for him, says that his parents enslaved him because they used to beat him with a belt, which may suggest that the slavery means that he was raised poorly, or at least was hit when he was a child. If he's calling a smack with a belt slavery, I think he needs to do some digging into the slave trade. From another comment, someone says how his parents used to treat him as a slave because they made him do stuff, probably chores that his parents couldn't be asked to do, and Terrell agreed with this person, so that might be another meaning of the slavery. This comment, however, is directly juxtaposed from an earlier post saying that he was raised right. Back in the future, we saw that he stated his parents and grandma enslaved him and worshipped the devil, and that she, his grandma, mistreated him.
Grandparents, nothing but disrespect. I wish her nothing. So is my grandmother that enslaved me. Both of the sides of my family worship the devil.
Well, we might have just caught him in his first big lie. As you can see, these posts clearly oppose his statement from Tismallah. I will never forget my grandma. She took all of us in and dealt with our problems. #real love. Really miss my grandma. Her love was different. I'll give the world to this lady. I would trade my life so she could live longer. Trying to make my grandma proud. This is who I'm doing it for. Yet, in his words, she never showed love to him, she worshipped the devil and enslaved him. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't sound like the words of someone who was enslaved by their own grandmother. That'll have to go on the board, as the enslavement thing is probably a lie now. He also said that his grandma raised him, so that means that he would have moved in with his parents after his grandma died, where she died in 2016. This means that he either would have moved into college dorms when he went to college, which was around 2016, or he moved in with his parents after his grandma's passing. It would make more sense that he lived in dorms up until college ended, as he states that he moved states to Connecticut at the end of 2020, which was soon after his college term ended. We see that in the July of 2018, he starts to think about getting his CDL. And then in the May of 2020, he gets his dream job, which I assume to be trucking, as the only other job Terrell ever mentions that he had was Applebee's, Uber Eats, and this, trucking.
Doing Uber, so
I remember I used to be at work. I was at Applebee's.
That means that he would have been trucking for about 4 years until he quit or forcibly lost his license in the middle of 2020. This means that our initial estimate of 3 years of trucking at 70k is actually a bit of an understatement.
I'm gonna talk about truck driving and how it's been for me since you could have a 6-figure lifestyle within 3 years of your life or 2.
The next useful bit of information we get starts in 2019, which I'll post about his mental state. Up until this point, all of his stuff mostly has been about women and cheesy quotes about the hood. He starts to deteriorate a little bit towards the end of his college years, where he starts talking about fighting demons and having voices in his head. I thought this comment below was fucking hilarious. He then proceeds to say, I'm really bipolar, y'all. As suspected. This could be a jokey comment, but as we see in late 2023, his mood can change very quickly from happy or aroused, saying that she is playing with her cat on FaceTime, and then a few days prior, he talks about how he's insanely depressed. This is one of many examples of his mood swings. On the 23rd of August 2021, he talks about how going to a psych ward is bad, which tells us that he's been there before and probably was the first time that he ever went there. So, that trip we saw in September 2025 obviously wasn't the first, but was it only the second? Well, unfortunately it wasn't. He's been there many times between this 4-year time frame. He also talks about attempts of kicking his own bucket and wanting to go to prison as it will improve his life somehow, but he complains as they keep sending him to a psych ward instead of the slammer. With trips to the psych wards comes a cost, and by my estimates of $500 a day, that totals 3.5 grand a week. That obviously could be less with insurance coverage, but still the cost might not be that much less, might still even be $100 a day without a pocket cost, and considering he's gone at least 7 times within this period, the debt could still be nuts. This could explain the need to beg for money, as he may have debts we don't know of. This too can impact the amount he is sitting on from trucking. It could be a lot less than I thought. There's more hypocrisy and bipolarisms to that jail stuff, as he later states that everyone in jail is a rat. There is more of that hypocrisy in the April of 2024, where he says he just wants a hug and wants to be loved. This would be a sign of an outreach, wouldn't it? Surely he would want someone to speak to. Well, someone does respond to this outreach with a nice heartfelt message, but he ends up making it strangely sexual and ends up coming across like a rude loser, like we've seen previously. Some of you might say I should give him some slack because of his mental state, but this guy is a rude loser even when he's not waning, as we've seen with the donations and his lives. This will obviously go on the board too. The mental downturn happens at the beginning of 2021, but starts to show itself really at the start of 2023, and that's where it started to go wrong, whilst he was being a trucker, depressed, living with his parents, and isolated. I think that the combination of isolation and depression is what made him start to spiral. Around this time too, which is the beginning of 2021, is when he started to show that weight and the muffin top. He also started to wear the CPAP mask around this time, which means that his sleeping time would have been lessened, which would play the biggest part in the downturn of Terrell, as it would be the biggest impact in anyone's lives. A lack of sleep is a form of torture. Literally. The last part of his mental state that I want to cover is the death. He said before he died when he lost his ambition, and then again when he had that sleep paralysis. But another I found is when he left the hood. He says that he died when he left the hood and came back alive. He also talks about how he was a slave to the streets and that he has to live that lifestyle and he cannot escape it, which is a bit pathetic really, considering that he now lives in Connecticut and most likely has a degree from college.
If you don't know me, and no lie, you gonna ask me, oh, what did you do, nigga? I've been old time disrespectful all my fucking life, word. I'm be on that police chase. This is what my life is about, word. It's what my life pertains to. There's no getting out. And y'all could tell, like, you feel me? Certain shit you can't hide, bro. I can't hide the hood out of me. This culture about me, bro. As much as I try to hide it, I can't hide it because at the end of the day, I'm me. What was done, it all came back to me, bro. And this shit is really slavery, bro. Word of my mother, bro. I really just be chilling, bro. Living an American dream, nigga. Just smack every one of y'all niggas. Word of my dead, bro.
This guy is forcing the symbolism for no reason, trying to force the mysteriousness upon us. That leads us to the next part, trying to figure out whether he was a hood legend. Well, all I could find were a few mentions of him going to ciphers and block parties every once in a while when he was about 19, and some pictures of him in Allerton. He was raised in the Bronx, you can tell by the slang, like ciphers, word to my dead, and the word jacking. It sounds rather fruitful. He uses it a lot too. I'm not jacking these fellas anymore. Okay, that's all we get. All he does is blame the hood for his failures and how he's from the hood. To say he's a hood legend is a lie. Terrell claims to have a few crimes to his name, mainly robbery, burglary and speeding, all of which he committed to try and get sent to jail. I wanted to make sure that he didn't have anything else to his name, and so I googled Terell Earle criminal records and charges, and I could not find much. But when I looked up Terell Earle lawsuit, something very interesting popped up. There was a lawsuit on the website Trellis, a public record of a small claims on behalf of Capital One, the bank, against a man from Waterbury, Connecticut, who goes by the name of Terrell Earle. You could say, Fred, how are you sure it's him? There could be another Terrell Earle. Well, he chose to represent himself for one, and secondly, you have to publicly state your address when you represent yourself, and it's pretty easy to tell by the house listings that it is his house, and thus it's him. Nearly $2,000 in unpaid credit. Well, at least we have another source for the income, credit cards. This might not be a current source, as we don't know if he paid the debt, so his credit score might be too low to receive credit from another firm. Also, it could impact the theory about sitting on truck money. Being in credit card debt while he was trucking shows us that he might not have made that much money from trucking, or he spent a lot of it before he stopped trucking, perhaps on insurance and the psych ward. Moving on from the hood stuff and continuing with the money stuff, he says that he used to swipe Uber Eats, aka get the food without paying for it, which he may continue to do to this day, meaning that he might not spend as much money as we thought, especially in combination with that Discord server. The penultimate thing on his Facebook is the start of saying Tismallah. It first started to show itself in the summer of 2023, saying Wishmallah instead of Tismallah. I don't know why it was Wishmallah. Perhaps the combination of wish and Bismillah, that's he wishes he would praise God. I don't fucking know. But a lot of the stuff that this guy does not make any sense. It then evolved a few months later to Tismallah at the start of 2024, which is when the food video started to appear. We can thank Keith Lee for that because of this post. The final thing that we get from this page is he says that he is a food addict and nothing will ever come close to meeting the high of gorging himself. It's safe to say that's pretty evident, as he only really eats big portions of food that are high in fat. But it never used to be that way. He used to be addicted to eating cornstarch, and we see some traces of that back in the future where he eats seasoned flour.
Just seasoned flour, because that's all we got.
And that concludes his Facebook page and the majority of his internet content. There's a few videos of him dancing and DJing, but they don't really help with our investigation. And I would say we have enough information to answer our questions, and we found out what we were looking for. The stuff about slavery, his death, where it went wrong, and what's wrong with him. Let's go to the board and answer a few of our questions. Okay, let's go over the board of Tismallah, which is covered. I think I covered it a bit too much. Let's see if we can answer our questions. Is he savable? What the death and slavery is all about? Where does his money come from? Where did it go wrong? And what's wrong with him? Okay, let's answer where does the money come from first. Okay, so we had several theories. The first three we saw was Cash App, OnlyMates and PayPal. But this one and the PayPal, I don't think will be that much of a push for his income, because no one's going to buy his OnlyMates, and he doesn't really shout out his PayPal, it's more his Cash App. That's probably his main earner in terms of quick money or donations per se. The next we saw was jobs. He actually has worked before, he doesn't just sit on his ass and do nothing. He worked at Uber for a little bit, about July time. He worked for about a month, and I haven't mentioned it, but currently he is working at Uber in Allerton. He's gone back to Allerton after he got kicked out, and he'd done Uber for about 3 days and before he gave up. It probably cost him more to rent the car than it did to work Uber and get money, if you know what I mean. It probably cost him more to rent the car. The other job we saw was trucking for 4 years. Assuming that he makes 70 grand a year, he probably won't on his first year, a few thousand, maybe 30,000. But the years after that, he could be making 70k. Sorry, I don't exactly know how much money is in trucking, but I saw 70,000. We could assume that over 3 years he's earning 70k, which is 210 grand before taxes. And that assumes he worked those long hours and did 1,000 miles a day, whatever that guy says. I do 1,000 miles in a day. Yeah, right.
Can't do more than 600-700 miles. 6-7.
The other two lesser sources of income was selling green. I don't think he really did sell green for that long. He probably spun it all himself, because he does seem like he smokes a little bit. Selling the green is linked to Big Jack. I haven't linked it on the board, but obviously his name is Big Jack, which would suggest he would push something, some kind of gear. Probably can't say it on here, otherwise I get demonetized. But yeah, maybe he used to pedal gear because of his name, and still does pedal something, even though it's green. If he did pedal gear, that means he would have had quite a bit more money, but I don't think that's true. I think he's just a normal person. I don't think he's a hood legend like he says. So yeah, green is the less source of income, and the other one is the Cuffham. Cuffham sent him only about £1,000, so that's not that big of a source of income. The most likely source for hefty cash would probably be the credit cards. As we saw, he was in debt with Capital One for about £2,000, and yeah, maybe he's done it before as well and gotten away with it, but yeah, who knows. How much money has he spent? Well, we'll answer that shortly on the board over there. We can work out how much he's spent and just see how much he would have had to have made to be able to afford all of it. We'll take a rough estimate, let's say a week or so, and work it out. Okay, so we're going to do the week that starts on the 26th of August and ends on the 2nd of September. And we start with the 26th of August. Let's work out what he's done that day. We see that he got a big meal from Popeyes, as you can tell from this clip here.
Every day we good, we got 12 wings, 2 chicken sandwiches and a snack wrap, rice, mashed potato.
Also on that day, we see him eat. And he also had 500 grams, roughly, white rice. Alright, to work out the cost, I did use AI, because if I did it myself, it would have taken me fucking ages. So I worked out the Popeyes to come to around 4,059k cow, with a cost of about $52. That's from Waterbury for Uber Eats price. That's the cost of the food and service charge, and maybe a tip. But we all know Terrell's skin. If you had the rice, it's probably maybe $1. And the Chef Boyardee ravioli I worked out to be $1.79, which comes to $54.79. For the calories as well, sorry, rice and ravioli, they came to 320, and with the 500 grams of white rice, it's 650. This brings the calories to 5,129. Okay. Let's move those up to the day. 5,129 calories in one day. Right, the next day we see that he has 1 loaded hash brown and Philly cheese steak from Buffalo Wild Wings. And with that he has about half a tub of sour cream.
Every day we eat good Philly cheesesteak, loaded hash browns,
When I looked up the price for this from Buffalo Wild Wings, it said about $26, and if we assume that he's using that Discord server, that brings this to $13. And half a tub of sour cream, let's call it a quid. But the calories in the sour cream is 450 cal, and for the Buffalo Wild Wings meal, 2,840 cal. So add these two together, 3,290 to 3290 and 14.00. Okay, we're on to the next day. On this day, he had mostly more filling meals, but I still think he had takeaway if you look at this clip here. I'll show you the video in a second, but why the fuck do I look like Alfred Hitchcock in a silhouette? Oh, fuck me, I'm finished, blood, I'm finished. Oh.
Every day we eat good. Chicken salad, white rice, ribs, whole chicken.
We see that he had 300 grams chicken salad plus rice, about 400 grams ribs, one whole rotisserie chicken, and then later on that day he had 400 grams roughly of chicken, rice and kidney beans. Alright, so the cost for these three, which I don't think was made by him, Uber said about 40 bucks. Chicken, rice and beans, let's call that $5. Right, so the price, we have $45. For the calories, 4,543. That was just one of the meals for that day. He also got a box from Taco Bell. He got a 1 beef 5-layer. These come to 1,550 calories, and this came to, Uber said, about $26, so let's call it 13, assuming he's using the Uber Eats Discord technique. And we can add those onto the day. Right, next we get onto the 29th. Here was a lighter day, well, considering he spent a lot yesterday. He only got 2 double cheeseburgers from McDonald's. They had chips, so they would have been meals. This comes to, again, about $26. ChatGPT said about 1980 cal. Right, next day. You see more Buffalo Wild Wings for Terrell, and he got 1 all-American burger meal. I looked at the website, said it's about 1,200 calories. Later on, he had 3 deep-fried chicken wings, 500 G of Alfredo. This comes to 1,200 calories again. This was again $26, and this would be about $7. Alfredo isn't the cheapest thing to make. Okay, we are now onto the first roll over into September. This is another home cooked day. 400 grams of rice plus 3 deep fried chicken wings. This, let's call it $5, shall we? For the chicken wings, this is probably a bit of an overestimate, 820 kilocalories. This was all we saw him eat for that day. Yeah, so that's a light day for Terrell there. Oh, on to the second, where we see him have a Chinese special. He got 2 cans of Pepsi.
2 egg roll.
This came to 3,000 calories, and ChatGPT says for delivery in Waterbury, it'll come to about $39. Well, that's not all for that day. We also see him drink 2 litres of Fanta later on. 1 Spanish omelette with rice. ChatGPT again said this would come to about $37.68 for Uber Eats. I know exactly where this fast food place is because there's only one place in Waterbury that does Spanish omelette with rice on Uber Eats. So that price is exact. And the calories come to 2,560 cal. I think the calories is a bit of an underestimate, but I'm just using ChatGPT to make it quicker for me, you know what I mean? Right, let's add those on for the final day. Let's add these all up. and see what the cost and the amount of calories is. Before that, you may have noticed that I only included drinks at the end, where he had the 2 cans of Pepsi and the 2 litres of Fanta. I'm gonna add another 2,000 calories to this because, as we know, he doesn't drink water. He only drinks Minute Maid lemonade, and there's about 500 calories in a carton of that. And assuming that he goes through one a day, which isn't unrealistic because he only drinks that stuff, it will be fair to say that he gets at least 2,000 calories in through sugary drinks. So let's add 2,000, and for the drinks cost, let's say it costs, I don't know, $2 a bottle, let's add $14 to the expenses just for drinks. Before we do the addition, I just want to say I apologise for not dressing up as a character. I normally dress up as who I'm covering, but I can't really do that today. I can't gain that sort of weight in a 3-week period, but I could try a face swap and see how that looks. Ooh, wrong one, whoops. Right, it won't let me do it for some reason. It's probably because prevention of digital blackface, but let's go and work it out. So for the money, we have $266.47. And for the calories, we have 26,242. Right, okay, so this is the amount of calories per week and the cost per week. His average per week is that, the average per day for him would be over 3,748. Now, the average athletic man who competes at the highest level would need to consume about 3,500 calories a day in order to maintain their fitness. But Mr. Earle, who does no exercise, has 248 more calories than Olympian. Well, average man would consume 2,800 calories-ish, and so Terrell is doing 948 more. So we can clearly see why he's so big. He's eating more than Olympians and sometimes bodybuilders. 3,748, that's a lot. Now for the cost, if we divide this by 7, we get his daily cost to be $38.07. I looked up the average cost for a person on food in Waterbury, Connecticut, and their average, says Google, is $14 about. So he is spending $24.07 more. That's a lot, and especially if you times it by 52 to get the yearly cost, would come to $13,851 per year on food. Okay, to delve in more with this per year, we know what the main factors are. SSI / I'm a plumber, as Stunner Boy would say. These two combined can give a maximum of 18 grand per year. From what I can see and what I've read, these two basically cancel each other out unless you've been earning SSI whilst you were employed, which Terrell obviously hasn't been employed for since July. He worked a week, basically trucking, so 2 years ago. So Terrell hasn't been employed for about 18 months. So he would have been earning only really I'm a plumber if he was earning unemployment, but SSI I think he was earning. But the maximum for this is 11k per year in Waterbury, Connecticut, from what I saw. So let's assume the smaller number, SSI. Let's say he earns the maximum, which is 11 grand. That takes it down to 2,851 per annum. That's still a lot of money for him to pay, considering that he doesn't have a job. How's he going to make that money? Well, he has donations. He also has debt from Psychboard and credit cards. Not credit card, guys. Credit. So he gets donations. He also has truck money. He also, most likely, because he got kicked out, no rent to pay. he most likely has no bills because we never see him watch films, we only see him watch Kai Cenat. So he probably has no recurring billings on at all. Maybe PlayStation Plus, but you never know. He did sell his PC to get more money, so he must be skint. This, I think the debt he has is greater than his earnings. Because of the credit card debt we saw from Capital One, even though it's only £2,000, it could be fair to say that he is also in further credit card debt. Because, come on, £2,000 is a lot of money to be in debt, but it's not going to fuck your credit score entirely. You can probably still get another credit card. So he would still be able to get credit cards. Still, actually. Also, he has to pay insurance. I think it would be fair to say that his debt is greater or equal to his earnings of $2,851 per year, which he has to pay. The SSI won't really be enough to cover that. Where's the money come from? Well, we see it all here, but is it that much? No, well, I thought it would have been more. Can he afford it? That is the question. No. Mr. Earle cannot afford this lifestyle. Let's call it £3,000 out of pocket, which he doesn't have. So Mr. Earle spends about £3,000 per year out of his own money on food, which he cannot afford because he doesn't make that much from donations, trucking and extra credit. So I think Mr. Earle is secretly skint, and if he carries on this trend, he's going to be homeless pretty soon, which he borderline is already. Next thing, the death and slavery comments, the rambles. Do they have any meaning? We first heard him talking about death in late July, early August, where he talks about how he's dead and how his dad killed him. That doesn't really make much sense. Did his dad force him to have a heart attack? Did he scare him so badly that his heart stopped and died for a second? I don't think so. His dad seemed like a nice man based on the obituary. From what we saw initially, we thought maybe it had some sustenance to it, but after we went through his Facebook and YouTube, we saw dozens and dozens of meaning. We saw that his death meant that he lost ambition, his death happened when he left the streets, his death happened when he had sleep paralysis, his death happened when his dad killed him. Don't know how he would have done that. Yeah, his death doesn't really mean anything. It's got millions of meanings, and I'm sure he'll carry on to make more meanings for his death. Now, what about the slavery? He said he's been a slave his whole life and was raised by his grandma to be a slave. When he talks about his family worshipping the devil, he said his grandmother told him that he was too free, which would suggest that he thinks he was a slave. But based on the Facebook comments of him being belted by his parents and having to run errands, he's linked that to slavery. So I think that's the key part of his definition of enslavement as a child, was having to run errands and being hit with a belt. I don't think he was kept in a cage or forced to do anything like hard, unpaid labour and horrific treatments like slavery would be, like those workers in Qatar when they were building the stadiums for the World Cup. I doubt it was anything like that. I think he's surely just emphasising it to garner sympathy. What was key to plucking that out to be a lie was the fact that he used to love his grandmother. Up until 2019, which would have been 6 years ago, he loved his grandmother to death. So, what can you say, eh? Liar. Next, what's wrong with him? As you can tell from the rambles, whilst he's eating, or just the post about rambling, there's clearly something not there with Terrell. Yeah, let's go through those. Okay, so we have 3 or 4, maybe 5 theories as to what's wrong with him. The first one we saw was the depression, where he just talked about kicking his own bucket and not wanting to be on the planet anymore. We questioned as to whether it was for sympathy, genuine, or were there external factors pressing into the depression, like, say, slavery and deaths. But as we've seen so far, there's nothing there really. So I think this could be for sympathy because he has his Cash App linked to the videos where he talks about kicking his own bucket. I think he exaggerates the severity of the depression, but he could still be depressed. Next, we said he was just delusional. Just, being delusional for the sake of being delusional. Just talk about how he's being owed money, he's rude, rambles for ages for the TikTok Creator Fund money, which unfortunately now he's not a part of. So that was another theory, just delusional. Next thing was bipolar. He said on his Facebook he was bipolar, but before that we thought that he could have been bipolar because of the heavy mood swings, the slavery and God juxtapositions, where 1 minute he's talking about how he's the best guy ever and he was a legend in the hood, but the next minute he's been enslaved and is insanely depressed. We saw that too further personified on his Facebook, where he talks about her playing with her cat on FaceTime, and the week before that he talks about how he wants to kick the bucket. So I think this is the most likely one as to what's wrong with him. Next thing was from Tismallah saying that he is schizophrenic. She said on a phone call that Terrell said he's schizophrenic, and he talks about voices in his head once on Facebook around 2019 and the other time in February 2025, where he talks about how he has voices in his head and they made him quit trucking, and he said he had to listen to the voices in his head to quit trucking. And that's, bear in mind, that's the only time he's ever talked about the voices in his head. But again, it could be real, couldn't be. That's the whole point of us doing this. And finally, we saw maybe narcissistic personality disorder with him just being extremely prideful and, by the seems of it, not wanting any help as a person with narcissistic personality disorder would want. He made that outreach go sexual when he said the woman, that poor girl, said to him, listen, I'm here for you, just speak if you want to. Then he goes and says, just say you're worm deprived or some shit like that. A bit of a rude loser and a prick for that. What plays into all of these things, all four things, NPD, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, is the isolation. This guy is seemingly always alone in his room, and what further personifies the isolation, hounding the loneliness and need for an outreach perhaps, is social media. The guy would just be on TikTok comparing himself to people that are online. It will just make himself feel like he's behind, like his life has been wasted because he's 27 or 28 years old, alone, without a job, begging for money on TikTok. And this will push the depression especially, and perhaps the bipolarisms, because he's got no one to, I suppose, be there. As a human, you want someone to be there, and when all you've got is people on TikTok and Instagram, and when you're scrolling for ages just comparing your life to others at the same age, like he will do for 12 hours a day, it will make you go insane. Even with someone with NPD, being alone and addicted to social media will just make you lose your fucking mind. Moving on from the isolation, we can ask, where did it go wrong? The key for that was Facebook. So we saw he put on a lot more weight in 2021. He currently says that it's hard for him to walk, which would further push the isolation. And in 2021, he started wearing that CPAP mask for him to sleep, which would suggest that it's hard for him to breathe and would be sleep deprived. This also links to the grunts and moans because of the excess fat in his neck. He won't be able to breathe properly. So being sleep deprived and isolated because you can't move because you're so big will make it go wrong, and you will have something wrong with you. And that happens around 2021, as we said, he started to gain weight. And obviously, being sleep deprived and isolated, having no one around you around 2021 will lead to depression, and it just leads to bad things generally, makes you feel bad. And we saw at the end that he said he was addicted to food, which is quite easy to tell. Food addiction technically isn't a disorder from what I can tell. You love food so much and perhaps it gives you a feeling of euphoria. It's like saying cannabis is addictive, just the feeling that it gives you. You're addicted to the feeling of that, and he's addicted to the feeling of gorging himself. Being addicted to food links to everything on this board. It will further push his depression, his isolation because he's bigger, he can't walk as much, his sleep deprivation because he'll have more tissue around his neck. The two key factors really is the food and the isolation. Getting bigger and bigger, being able to sleep less, breathe harder, having to wear the mask, which these two just push the depression to the max. It's like he's basically slowly draining his life away because he's eating so much. People say when someone eats themselves to death, you don't believe it. It's like, oh, Augustus Gloop and the Chocolate River. But this guy is literally eating himself to death. And the final one, is he savable? Well, from what we saw on his Facebook, he has a degree, or maybe, which is good. It improves employment, even though he hasn't really tried anywhere decent apart from trucking. That's one good thing. He probably still has a CDL. That's another good thing. And that's the two good things, really. Now for the bad, it's mostly bad. He's an incel. He said women have no use to him. He's maybe a borderline nonce. That probably is a bit too harsh, but he's wants to make every female encounter sexual. From, as we saw with the TikTok lives, he just talks about, I don't know, these sexual innuendos which just lead nowhere. It's delusional. That's true. Even if he's has something wrong with him, he would be delusional. He's a rude loser. Send me money to my Cash App. Should have donated more. I could go on and go on about him being a rude loser. But yeah, lazy. The guy's always in his room. It's never clean. He doesn't try to help himself. He just sits in bed and asks for money all day. Prick. That links to rude loser. Just a prick. The main thing as to him not being savable is the denial of the outreach, making it go sexual. He asked for a hug and the guy just turns it round and is a prick. If you're going to ask for help and just not take the help, are you savable? Is he savable? Worm elongation content. This is linked to, is he savable? Because he might be doing this on purpose, just eating and eating and eating. Maybe there's something darker there with the worm elongation content. A lot of people wouldn't see that because everything else on this board just takes away from that. The main thing he does is eat every day and well and grunts and moans for TikTok money. But is there other sources of money that allow him to eat because they want to see worm elongation content? That's probably a bit of a reach, but there could be something darker behind that. I obviously don't know. Only Terrell knows that. Also, up here, the lack of accountability. That's the main thing. He's always blaming someone else. Even blames Cuffham, even though Cuffham sent him $1,000. Blames his parents, his grandmother, his followers, God, the devil. Name anyone, he probably blames him. Blames his brother for kicking him out. I don't blame him personally, I wouldn't want to live with that guy. But yeah, it's just a lack of accountability. Finally, is he savable? I think he is savable. But it's all down to Terrell. I think the main problem, obviously, which, as we talked about, the addiction to food and that isolation, what would make him feel better relatively instantly is going to the gym and dieting, losing weight. It would literally feel like a new man. I think the way for him to improve himself and save himself is to literally go on a diet. He won't be as depressed because he'll be able to sleep better. He won't need the CPAP mask, so he'll feel better when he sleeps. When he loses weight, obviously there'll be some more attraction to him. Maybe the birds will go for him. He'll have less isolation, and obviously, if he's on a diet, he won't be in pain when he walks, so he'll feel better and he'll be able to go out and socialise. So that's the main factor, is the weight. So he can save himself, but he's actively choosing not to do that. So is he savable? He can be, but as we've seen so far, he's not even saving himself, so they are. Well, we worked out the money, as you saw. It's not bad, is it? And the calories, I don't know. Won't say anything there. That pretty much wraps up this video. All of this was covered. I think I might have covered him a bit too much, and this video is going to be quite long. But if you like the video, leave a like, leave some new character suggestions in the comments down below. And thank you very much for watching. Shout out to the channel members as well. I know there's only a few of you, but thank you for supporting. And as always, have a good day now.